So much for it. It's not all. Alright, so before we talk about the I Belong campaign, perhaps we should understand what statelessness means. In legal terms, if I can work this out, I'll tell you that statelessness means no state recognizes you as a person in front of the law. The practical implications of that are very serious. Stateless people cannot get married, cannot travel, they may not benefit from services, they may not have access to education, healthcare, or many other things that we take for granted, such as opening a bank account, or going from one place to another without fearing that you may be arrested. To sum up, statelessness means that you are not able to lead a normal life like others in the society. If I may have the next slide, right. So why am I here talking about statelessness? I come from the refugee agency, correct? No. So UNHCR has two mandates. One is on refugees and the other one is on stateless persons. Actually, one word is missing in our title. The UNHCR, the UN Agency for Refugees and Stateless People. Our mandate on this has gone from specific to generic over the years. We were given the mandate in 1974 by the UN General Assembly, and with the breakdown of USSR, Czechoslovakia, and Yugoslavia, the world has seen the need to come up with a better international protection regime for the stateless people. So there followed other UN resolutions in 1995 and 2006 to designate UNHCR the areas of activities that it focuses on right now. We have four responsibilities to execute our mandate: is to identify stateless people, to prevent statelessness from happening, to reduce statelessness, and also to work towards protection of stateless people. Our activities on statelessness have been made possible through some developments at international level. UNHCR organized a ministerial meeting in Geneva in December 2011, and it was a turning point. 61 states made pledges to address statelessness. 32 countries pledged to accede or take steps to accede to the two international instruments we have on statelessness. Um, 30% of these pledges that were made by 61 countries were implemented. First and foremost, it is the responsibility of the states in the field of nationality. There is the sovereign discretion of the states that has eroded since the UN Declaration of Human Rights was adopted. So the actions and steps have to be taken by the states themselves to address statelessness. UNHCR cannot substitute for states, but what UNHCR can do is to document the gaps in administrative and legal frameworks and help them to address the gaps. And then came the I Belong campaign. We launched the campaign in November 2014. It was to mark the anniversary of the Statelessness Convention, 1954 convention relating to the status of stateless persons. I Belong campaign aims to end statelessness by 2024. Statelessness is a man-made problem, but putting an end to it can become a reality if there is enough public support and political will to take the required actions. Building on the momentum that was created in 2011 with the ministerial meeting in Geneva, we launched the campaign. The campaign page is hosted by Benetton. We partnered with Benetton to come up with the framework of the campaign and also to host the campaign page. And it came with an open letter to end statelessness. There's an online open letter that you can find and click. It has become an online petition that aims to collect 10 million signatures to end statelessness by 2024. The thematic focus of statelessness in 2015 and 16 is childhood statelessness. We issued a special report on Here I Belong, the urgent need to end statelessness, which studied the impact of statelessness in 7 countries in the world, including Malaysia. And I'll talk about that in a little while. Alright, and you can visit the I Belong campaign page to understand a little bit more about the impact of statelessness on at least 10 million people around the world. Right. The I Belong campaign came together with a set of actions where relevant and if undertaken by states can end statelessness in 10 years, 8 years. We have 8 years left. Sorry, I failed mathematics in school. So by 2024. Even though it's primarily the responsibility of the state to take the required actions, the UN agencies, stakeholders, civil society stakeholders, academics, they all have their roles to play in helping governments to address statelessness. We have consulted with more than 20 countries to come up with a framework of action. Several UN agencies also contributed to the development of action plan, such as UN Women, UNFPA, UNICEF, UNDP. Given the political will, we can put an end to this. For example, 4 million stateless people acquired nationality in the last decade. 12 countries reformed their laws to allow women to confer nationality on an equal basis with men. Gender discrimination is one of the primary causes of gender discrimination in nationality laws is one of the primary causes of statelessness, and 12 countries reformed their laws. Yeah, next slide. And these are the 10 action points. They are related to each other. The achievement of one action point, for example, accession to the UN Statelessness Convention, may mean the partial achievement of another goal of another action point. Accession to the 1961 Statelessness Convention on the reduction of statelessness would mean that countries reform their laws to allow children being born on the territories to acquire a nationality if they would otherwise be stateless. So that is action point 2, for example. In the afternoon session, during the roundtable discussions, I believe you will come up, you will have a chance to understand the global action plan and the action points and the relevant action points for the circumstances of stateless persons in Malaysia. And then we launched the report last year in 2014. We spoke to more than 250 children and youth and their parents around the world, consulted with civil society organizations and governments. Especially, go back to, who am I talking to? Who has the gadget? Right, okay. especially at a time when we are drawn by photos of others and by fears, when we're taken over by the idea of borders. I do believe that if used responsibly, pictures and testimonies can change the way we react to things. So when you look at her face, she's among us. She is one of the youth, stateless youth, we had a chance to meet, and she generously shared her story with us. And when you look at her face, the only difference between her and me is that she has fallen into the wrong place at the wrong time. That's really the only difference. Right, so we have conducted the participatory assessments in 7 countries. Well, we call it participatory assessments, but it was a daily reality of the stateless people for us to understand the impact of statelessness on the youth. So I think I should call it dialogue sessions rather than referring to it as a qualitative analysis, because as I speak to you right now, there is a child being born stateless somewhere in Malaysia that does go through the hardship of living in a legal limbo. And for me to have the time and luxury as a privileged person to go to her and listen to her story should not be called any sort of qualitative analysis. So 250 children, 250 children and youth around the world, including Malaysia. And the findings of our sessions and dialogue sessions with the government and children were published in the report that you were provided with at the entrance. Right. So with the no harm policy, we only talk to the parents of children between the age group of 0 and 15, and children and youth within the age group of 15 and 24. Last year in August, the sessions took place through the efforts of DRAW Malaysia that facilitated the discussion sessions for UNHCR with the stateless youth. When we talked to the children, we saw that, and the youth, we saw that they related to one another. They wanted to share their story with one another and with us. Perhaps it was the first time in their lives that they had a chance to talk about what was happening. And what this report does is to put a human face into this very legal complex set of issues. Behind the label of statelessness, we find birth registration, state succession, migration, international legal framework and conventions. But what really happens is the very impacts of it on the daily life of a child who cannot go out to play with her friends because she fears if she falls down, she won't have access to medical services. What it does is that a child who would not go to school because she doesn't have the additional fee to pay the fees to go to school as a foreigner, instead she would need to work, getting 5 ringgit a day to support herself and the family. Right. In the coming 2 months after the dialogue sessions with the youth, we stayed in touch. With them. They documented things that they mattered to them. They documented their lives through photography and drawings. And I wanted to share with you some of the pictures and some of the drawings you see in the room in the exhibition hall today. Is through the generosity of the youth that we talked to last year. They were generous to tell their stories to us and share their photography through their eyes. But I want to also bring in the voice of other stateless youth and children from other parts of the world before I finish. When I was taking this picture with my violin, I was hoping that music would be with me for the rest of my life. It's my only escape from a life full of difficulties and uncertainties. I don't know what can be out there for me. I'm not sure that I will reach my goals and make my dreams come true. But I will always keep on trying to have a normal and happy life. This is the tea farm that my family works on. It looks beautiful, doesn't it? In fact, the ground beneath is really difficult to walk on. It's just like my life. On the surface, other people think that I don't have a care in the world. In reality, without citizenship, my life has been really hard. I feel like this old building has been through a lot and is still struggling to exist. I cannot plan my future, and I don't know what it holds for me. I can only try to survive, moment by moment. While others advance, make progress, I have no choice other than to stay in one place. As for me, due to my statelessness, access to school was denied to me since my very early years. I tried to compensate by reading all the books that I could get hold of. And to survive, I had to work more than 16 hours per day. I had no other option. Horizons are my limit. I can't travel beyond the horizon and visit the world to see other parts of it, because I have no travel locale. Without an identity, it feels like I'm in a cage. I can't get married, I don't have money, I can't study, I can't buy a house or car. My life is worse than a person in a prison. Even a person in a prison has an identity, but I don't. This hole that was full of sewage was brought to life by the beautiful green grass. This will be my life once I have citizenship. Without an ID, you can't be admitted to a hospital, even if it's urgent. Once I had food poisoning and was in a very critical situation. My family took me to 2 different hospitals and they refused to admit me because I did not have a passport or ID. It has been, as always, to be with UCSI and particularly in this place today. The energy and commitment of UCSI youth has been thoroughly inspirational, and there will be more events. I believe brilliant UCSI students like Calvin and everyone else will let you know about the upcoming activities. But for now, enjoy the images, enjoy the videos, but just don't be moved by them. Make a pledge to yourself as to how you can make a difference in the lives of those you are hearing today. Sit down at dinner table, talk to your friends, and see what little step we can all take to end statelessness by 2024. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr.